Hello, everybody, and welcome to my podcast called In the Mind of Others. I just want to give a quick introduction about what this podcast is really all about. It's essentially broken up into two aspects, and the first part is I'll be interviewing people who want to come on and talk about their career. I don't know if you're like me, but I always say I wish I had a second life for all the things that I want to do. And maybe this is just me being selfish by trying to live through them and the different careers that they have. I also want to give the younger generation a new perspective on all the different careers that are out there. The second part of this podcast is going to be about interviewing people that have a story to tell. Maybe it's about going through an illness. Maybe it's a veteran who served overseas in a daring mission. It really is wide-ranging. I also feel so many people today are going through things and they're wondering, am I all alone? And I want them to know that they're not. I want to have a place where they can come and see there are other people who are going through the same things that they have gone through. So that, in a nutshell, is really what the podcast is all about. My first guest is a little bit of both of those aspects, and I'm super excited about this episode. You can join me on YouTube and also any of your favorite podcast apps. Thank you for joining me. All right, everybody. I do want to say thank you all for tuning in to the very first episode of In the Mind of Others. And it's a very exciting podcast that has been on my mind for such a long time. And I actually remember telling Kyle about it for the very first time. Oh, that was probably maybe a year and a half ago, something like that. And I do want to thank Kyle for really pushing me to start this. And it's going to be very exciting. Two other thank yous I do want to mention are Andrew Ibsen, Kyle's brother. He actually made this table. We used all his wood. I told him I would repay him for the wood, but he was like, no, just create good podcasts. I was like, okay, fine. I'll deal with that. And also Brad McGilligan. Brad was huge in helping me set up the technology for all this. I am illiterate when it comes to technology. I am an absolute idiot. So it was very helpful, and I'm very thankful for him coming over to help me out with this and get this started. As I stated before, and I'm going to state it in my intro, what this podcast is really about is really just kind of influencing people that might be going through something that they feel like, man, you know what? I'm the only one in the world going through this. And maybe this podcast will show me, wow, I'm not alone. And also I want to help the younger generation to see, you know what, man, maybe there's a career out there that, wow, I really want to learn about. And I think that's another aspect that we're going to be really talking about today, which is going to be super exciting. So, and with that note, we do have the first ever guest on the podcast. Yes, applause. And that is none other than Kyle Ibsen. So we're going to get started with that. First off, and I think that's extremely important question is, how are you doing?
Hey man, I'm doing really good. Good, yeah. Moved out of Jersey, which I'm pretty grateful for right now because of this weather this week. In the 90s, it's humid as could be, and I kind of forgot what it's like. But now, yeah, we're doing great out in Colorado.
Good.
Yeah.
And you have your wife here, right?
I do, yeah. Now everywhere I go, I have a baby and a wife that follows. Yeah, that's nice.
And Kyle, like he just said, he just had a baby actually, baby Harper.
Yeah. So if you hear something in the background here,
yes, don't get alarmed. There's just a small newborn.
We don't have babies cooked up in the back rooms here crying away.
Don't worry, we're not like that here. So that's super exciting. When was Reese born? What, last week, 2 weeks ago?
Reese was born in. You're testing me here, but that was in '99.
Yeah, right.
No, she was born on the 11th of
May. Okay.
Yeah, last month.
So coming up on what? Two weeks?
She's about 3 weeks in tomorrow, I believe.
Yeah, tomorrow.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So 3 weeks
okay,
tomorrow.
that's very exciting.
I'm taking a 2.5-week-old on a flight, man.
Yeah, okay, so what is that like? Because you know me on flights, I'm a nervous wreck just by myself. So I can't imagine having a 2-3 week old.
Yeah, you don't know me then. I hate it as well. The whole time I'm on there is like there's not a second I've ever slept on a plane. I can't relax.
Yeah.
I'll do the stupidest things in the world, but as soon as I put my life in someone else's hand or something else's hand, I am a nervous wreck. So yeah, no. A lot of people online, they'll give you all the worst advice, man. A newborn on a plane. Do you know what it's like? And I'm like, I don't know. My sister has a couple kids. You know, I've grown up. I was like, they don't say it's too bad. And Reese was a little bit of a wreck getting on the flight, just because she's like, first time. If your baby's crying, everybody's gonna be pissed off at you.
Yeah, you don't want to be that couple.
Yeah, no. Right. So and that's me. So she got me some noise canceling headphones. I'm all ready to slap those things on and drown out the baby. But no, she slept the whole entire time. It was really, honestly, the easiest thing in the world, and it almost made us a little bit more sleepy and to be able to relax, because seeing a sleeping baby is the most peaceful thing ever.
Yes, and I'm sure everybody out there will agree with that.
Yeah.
Especially on a flight, you don't want to have that crying baby, especially like an 8-hour flight.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm sure everybody was extremely
There was
thankful.
a couple of them, though, on the flight.
Yeah,
so,
but yours wasn't one of them.
Yes,
so
yes, thankfully.
What is it like being a dad? I mean, you're obviously new dad. What is it like? What was that first moment when you saw Harper? What went through your mind?
First moment I saw her on the way out. I saw some hair and I was like, dang, man, she's got some dark hair. I don't know what's going on. Yeah. And no, she there she is whining. But no, it was honestly the most unreal thing in the world. It came out and it was like this is it. Like this is a thing now.
Yeah. Yeah.
So no, when she came out, it was like the whole world literally just was like, holy cow, man, I've got to take care of this thing for 18, or if it's me, 23 years, it'll be living in the house. So no, but honestly, it's one of the most incredible, insane things that you'll ever go through or watch. Like, yeah, it's weird, but super cool.
And I'm sure, obviously as a girl dad, you probably have your guns all ready to go. Got them clean.
Oh yeah, I've got too many ready to go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As a dad, what is your biggest fear? Do you have any? I mean, is there?
Me now, as I'm a father, I'm kind of getting into the news, which is something you shouldn't do. But just everything going on in schools and just in life in general, it's a terrifying thing to know that, oh great, like our kid's gonna have to grow up in this world, like honestly, and so we can only do so much as parents to avoid like what they get into or what, but then you do too much and then they become crazy. So it's like it's this big like kind of, you gotta know how to do enough but not too much, and you don't want to shelter them, but you also don't want them too much. So honestly, the biggest fear is just, I'm hoping as a father and with her, like you make the right decisions and that the world doesn't get too much crazier.
And it's funny you actually mentioned the shooting, because that was actually my next question, and it was, did the shooting in Texas really give you a new perspective on parenting, as far as raising a child in this world? Like you said, the world is insane, and then we can only do so much, obviously. As a father, I'm sure you'd love to walk around, standing behind her with a gun every day, like, no, nothing's going to happen. But I'm sure you have a new perspective based on, let's just say, a month ago when you weren't a dad, and now. A month ago and now I still have the same thing, man. You should have freaking killed that guy for a day. But like with the kid and stuff, we talked about it before, homeschooling or putting them into a Christian school or something like that. But these public schools, like, I mean, that shooting was it's happened plenty of times before. This isn't the first time, but it's just kind of and again, you can't steer away from anything like, no going to school because of a shooting. It's the same thing like with everything else. You got to get this shot so you don't get a cold. It's you do what you can, but I mean, hoping that I'll be able to work and she'll be able to raise her, and hopefully maybe get her into a Christian school or homeschool or something like that. But that's been kind of something we've been thinking about before we even got into this, because this was planned, so we're like, what do we do in the future? What do you want to do? And this is all things you should, I believe, talk about before having it and everything like that. But it's and I think that is extremely important for anybody out there, especially somebody in a relationship, to talk about with your significant other, things that, especially not just in the present, but more so in the future, do our, obviously values, ideas, do they all align?
100%.
Which I think is obviously extremely important. So let's get into a little bit of a different topic, your work. And I think this is one of the aspects that I really wanted to talk about, because I feel like your career is one where a lot of, especially younger people want to be hands-on, is going to really look at it and be like, wow, that's super exciting. Like, I really want to learn more about that. So where do you work?
So it's kind of in the family with us, but working at Lockheed Martin.
Okay.
They have all sorts of, I started off in like missile defense and things like that.
Right.
They go through it all. Missile defense, they've got satellites and other things that people can't talk about, things that I don't know about. There's a lot of things that I don't know about. But yes, there's just a lot of cool, really neat things that they work on, at Lockheed
Martin. What is your official job title? If I were to say, hey, this is my best friend Kyle, he's
a technician specialist.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's something to where, if I were to come into your work, okay, and would it be like in like a factory type of situation? I mean, you're more hands-on, is that correct?
Yes. I'm not the smartest, so I didn't go to college. I didn't go to all the engineering and stuff like that. Right. So it's kind of crazy to me in school, like when I see my brother and my dad and stuff like that, engineers and the things that they're working on and things that they're talking about around the table, and then me and my mom were like, so how do you like the dinner, and it's like they would always be getting into all this crazy smart things, and I knew that wasn't me. And my brother, I'm working at a metal shop out of high school, and really enjoyed that work, and he would be like, oh, come and work at Lockheed Martin. We can get you in. And I'm like, dude, if all this stuff you're talking about, I'm like, I have no idea what you're talking about, and I am not going to do that. And anyway, so I worked at this metal shop 3 years, came out to Colorado with my parents, and, came back, worked at the same metal shop. And then I look in the mirror at the metal shop, and I remember that specific day, you got all the sleeves on, and it's like all this protection on for all the glass and cutting and stuff like this. I got my hard helmet on, and I stare into the mirror in the bathroom, because that's where you spend most of your day, so you can get out of it. But I sat in there, and I'm like, literally 3 years ago I was here, I moved away, and I'm back here again. And I'm like, at that point, I'm like, I'm as pretty much as high up as you can be as like a technician at this place. And so I'm like, this ain't, like, I can't afford anything with this pay. And so I was like, maybe I'll give this Lockheed Martin thing a shot. So I did apply, and I moved back to Colorado, and that's when I applied to a couple positions, and I didn't want like my dad or my brother to put me in for a reference. Like, I wanted to be like, this, I earned this, this is what I want to, do. So
exactly.
Instead of getting a job out in Colorado, I applied to plenty of positions, and I got a job out in New Jersey again. So I moved out to Jersey, and I started at Lockheed out here.
Good. And that moment when you were looking in the mirror, because I'm sure, maybe 18, 19, 20-year-old out there, kind of in the same situation as you, thinking, I started Spot, I thought I, found something else, but I'm back in the Spot, and I'm looking for a new direction. What was that moment like? I mean, did you realize, okay, this is it, I need to move on? Did it give you like a new, I guess you could say, like a new perspective on, wow, I know what I want to do with my life, and maybe this isn't it?
Yeah. And I am fine with doing that for my life. It was just the aspect of, you can't afford to survive with this outcome. So it was like, it was a deal where I would go anywhere that had the money. It was pretty much kind of where I was at that point. But yes, same thing. It's very taxing on the body to be lifting and cutting and metal all day.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
Here in Jersey, you're in a warehouse where it gets 100 plus and no air conditioning, and you're dealing with ovens, and it's like, oh my goodness, it was so bad, and you're covered in all this. So yeah, when I finally, literally, I can remember the moment I looked in the mirror and was like, this is insane that I'm back here. Like, I left this. Why am I back? So Yeah,
exactly.
no, it definitely was like a switch in the brain that was like, all right, yeah.
And that's good. And trust me, there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. And anybody out there, it's good to have a new perspective. It's good to take a good look in the mirror and think, okay, you know what? Let's go. How long have you been with the company, with Lockheed now?
Yeah, so it's been just about 4 years.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay, wow.
Yeah,
All right,
so-
good. If somebody were to say to you, you know what, Kyle? Wow, what you're doing is what I want to do. What would you say to them?
I would say, no, it's not. No, I would have to see what kind of work you enjoy, because it is a very, very weird industry.
Okay.
Like, I'm sure, I don't know if everybody knows what you do, but in your business, is it 90% paperwork and stuff, or what? Like, what kind of?
Yeah.
There's a lot of. So
Yep.
in our area of work, when I started in Jersey, it was a lot more assembly line. So
Yep.
my interview went like, hey, and he's sitting there pulling out batteries out of a remote, putting it back in, and taking it out, and he goes, could you do this all day for 8 hours?
Right.
And I was like, that's an odd thing to say. I'm sitting here in a button down shirt, applying to Lockheed Martin. I'm like, yeah, I could do that all day,
Right.
whatever. Yeah,
Right.
sure. What's this mean? And he goes, all right, man, we'll give you a call. And I was like, it was like the interview was 5 minutes long. I'm like, I've had longer interviews to like apply to like ShopRite and Chick-fil-A. Like, what's going on? So yeah, I went in and they called me back. So I flew back to Colorado, and then they called me back, and I flew back, and so it was a lot of like assembly work, but I kind of enjoyed that. You go in, you have a pile of stuff to do.
Yep.
And I was a solder technician at that point, so I'm just soldering boards all day and under a microscope, very, very small boards. And then you spit them out, you leave, you come back the next day, it was the same deal. Yeah. It was kind of repetition, it was kind of whatever. And then when I moved out to Colorado for the same job, now I'm working space systems, and you have this spacecraft in front of you.
Right.
And it's like, all right, from bottom to top of like this section, you're going to need to build this thing up. And it's like, all right, this is more exciting. You know, this is what I wanted to do. You're working on different things every single day. It's different. Yep. But with space, it comes a lot of paperwork and a lot of sitting around, a lot of waiting for people to sign off on things. And so
bureaucratic type stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Right. So it's not that kind of technician kind of style that you would think as someone is doing. It's just a lot of waiting on people, and then you glue something. But no, so if someone were to ask me, I'd say, I'd tell them the truth. When people say, oh, where do you work? Oh, Lockheed Martin. They go, ooh, like you must have a lot of money. That's not the case, but it is definitely one of the most insane things that you can possibly look at, like a spacecraft in front of you, knowing that thing's going to be launched up and used to help.
That's wild. That's crazy. And what is, like, are your hours, are they the normal Monday through Friday, 8 to 4? Are they more varied? I mean, and with like a technician job, do your hours get crazy? For me, like, it could be 2 weeks of day shift, 2 weeks of night shift. I mean, or as a technician with Lockheed, would it be more, hey, I have a steady schedule Monday through Friday?
Right. Yeah. So Lockheed Martin is really good. A lot of people say otherwise, but there's a lot of old people there that are stuck in their ways. I think there's the best job for like work-life balance. It's one of the best. So I work Monday through Thursday, 4/10s.
Okay.
So better. Like I get 3-day weekends off, and they could choose. They say, what do you want to work? And I was like, this is what I want to work. You can choose from a couple different things, but they're all flex hours. So like you have to be there within like a time frame. But if it's like, I'm running late, if you're doing that at Chick-fil-A, they're like, well, we got 4 people on the register. We need to, get in here. Yeah. That is like, it's kind of crazy. The higher up you go to a place, the less they need you there.
Right.
But it's like, if I'm running late, you just message your manager. All right, come on in whenever. And it's like, all right. And then as long as you make up those hours, you can work kind of whatever you want. Or if you want to take Monday off, you can work Friday to make up the Monday hours. So it's really nice in that sense.
Yeah, that's wow. Just thinking about that, it's like, man, I might have to make a career change.
That part is the reason I'm still here. I'll tell you, that's really nice.
Yeah, I think the citizens of Philly are okay without Officer Woolner for a while. might need to make a little switch. Yeah. Another question that I had actually for you, kind of about this, was, and we had touched on it a little bit earlier. Did you ever in your mind see yourself working at Lockheed, working on spacecraft, working on missile defense, anything like that?
Yeah, that's actually a huge thing. I'm glad you asked, because when I was in school, obviously you knew me, we grew up together, and I wanted nothing to do with like I love work. I love work, and I wanted to work with my hands.
Right.
And I just didn't think Lockheed Martin would be anything that I could achieve. And that's why, like, when I went to that interview, I was like, oh, yeah, pretty great. Yeah. But, like, when I was in school, I would have never thought. And it's really unbelievable that, again, when you go to work and you can see the things you're working on, it's kind of insane to look at that and be like, how am I working on this right now? Like, you mess up one thing, that whole thing is useless. It's scrap. Yeah. So it's like, it's almost stressful to know how much things cost, and because when you mess something up, it's not like, all right, we'll get another one out of the back shelf and we can put it on. It's like, all right, you have 200 days of wait time to get this part in, and it's like, I just screwed up millions of dollars. So but it is really incredible to know. And I am a geek when it comes to space. My dad, when he was here, I would tell him every day, get me posters, get me like DVDs. I want to learn. And whenever things are on like TV, I want to learn. And it's such an incredible thing. For the last like 5 years, I've been asking for a telescope for Christmas. My mom finally got me a telescope. But, I'm outside, like, everybody's inside. It's like 20 degrees, and I'm out there, like, looking at the moon, like, oh, this is insane. Yeah. So, yeah, it's really cool. And I like, I enjoy what I do.
And I think it's extremely important to have a career where you're so passionate about it. Yeah. Nobody wants to work a job where they absolutely hate it. I mean, unless you're getting paid $1 million. I mean, hey, I'll work any job
for 2 years and retire.
2 years, then I'm out. Yeah. So I think that's very good, and good for you. I'm so happy that you have a job that you love. Yeah. With that being said, and without bad mouthing the company you work for, are there any negatives to your job?
Not too much. The only negative I would say is probably just specifically the area that I am in. Yeah. And again, it's just more of the paperwork. See, I just want to work, man. I don't want to sit there. And the reason I hated school is because I hated to read. Yeah. Now imagine having 700 pages of specs that you have to go through and say, at this location you have to turn the finger 3/4 of it in, and then and it's like, that stuff is like, just tell me to torque this thing down. Like the paperwork is like, they go pretty overboard, but they know that Lockheed Martin is one of the best. Like, they have the most specific, and when it goes up, it's going to be good. Like Tesla and all that stuff with his SpaceX. It's like he launches things left and right, and it's going to be kind of crazy to see what happens here in the future, because you can't beat his prices. Right. But sometimes failures happen with him. Yeah. So it's like right now it's kind of that in between. Is it good to have failures but have 10 more things go up, or is it? So right now it's just the only downside I'd say is there's a lot of downtime.
Yeah. And I think one of the aspects of being part of a larger company is, and it's a private defense or a private contract company. Like if you were to work with the government, is that right? Would it?
It's a government contract.
Right.
So
right. And so with that, obviously, what's that term? With greater power becomes greater responsibility. Yeah. And I feel like that would be the exact same thing with Lockheed. Like, hey, you know what? We're building this satellite, and you know what? It just can't be some fluke, like, oh wow, let's just build it in 10 minutes.
There's no willy-nilly.
No, like it needs to go through a lot of processes, I'm sure. Yeah. And that's for anybody out there, like, okay, you want to be hands-on, that's awesome, but sometimes you got to take things slow. Yeah. Make sure everything is done right, because hey, astronauts are going up in the sky with something that you worked on. Like, all right, they're going up, they better be coming back down. So I think that's awesome.
I think it'd be so cool to like how with SpaceX they launch and then they retrieve their like rocket and stuff. Yeah. It's like, that'd be so cool to see something that's been up in space. Like I want them to bring down a satellite that I worked on after like 50 years, or one that and see like what it looks like out of space, or what it smells like, or something like that. But no, that's really cool.
Maybe come back with an alien. We'll see. Sure. Yeah. One thing that I remember actually, I'm going to hold off on that one question, because one thing that I do want to actually ask you is there anything that makes your job dangerous? I mean,
tripping hazards, man. Have you seen cords running across the? Yeah, no. It's everything is so freaking like.
Yeah.
This is how it is, and you have the government walking in your facilities. It's clean rooms.
Yeah.
You all wearing your like suits and
Right,
everything.
right.
The biggest thing that you could get hurt on is like a 3-foot step ladder. That's it. Yeah. No.
Okay. All right. Well, hey, that's good.
Not
That's
this
good.
job. So if you're looking for a safe job, I guess Lockheed's the way to go.
Keeping on the idea of your work, one thing that I remember talking with your dad about, there were certain things that he couldn't tell me, which, as I have my master's in national security, so I think like things that like national security related like interest me so much. I think it's like so cool. Are there things that you can't tell me that you've worked on, like?
If I told you, I'd have to kill you.
Yeah. I was waiting. I knew you would say that.
That's the only answer I can give you. But yeah,
works.
there's some things.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah.
Right. There's some things obviously you can't say, which I'm sure anybody else out there, if you're a nerd like me, that's probably your favorite moment of the podcast. Like, oh my gosh, that was so cool. He actually said that. So I guess with that, you can't really say some cool projects that you've worked on. Well, are there cool projects that you worked on that you can tell me?
Well, everything I work on, as long as it's online and you can see things.
Right.
Yes, I mean we've posted some things when there's been launches.
Yeah.
My favorite project that I worked on with Lockheed is what I've been on since I've been in Colorado. I've built a couple of them, but are SIBRs. So
what is that?
You can look those up online if you want. Anything that it says online, you can tell. But other than that, but no, it's just it's a missile defense warning. So it's actually people in Iraq and wherever they would be. If there's a missile that's launched, especially now in this world that we live, it's an early detection system. So it'll tell us, that there's been a missile that's launched, and then we can react on whatever way that we would like to.
Yeah. And in how crazy the world is, do you ever think like, okay, wow, I know my work is going to be maybe one day stopping, let's just take North Korea. It was, obviously a huge adversary of many nations, if not all of them, except for obviously, Iran, Syria, China, all those. Do you ever think like, okay, wow, I'm going to maybe be shooting down or detecting a missile or anything like that?
It's really cool. The days that I really enjoy at work are like, well, first of all, it is me and one other guy that are working on. So everything that's been touched on this thing has been touched by me. Like in this section of the, I'm not building the entire thing.
Right.
But in this section, it's a very important section. And it's like, to know that, like, it's not just 50 people working on it and you're just another person building this one part. Everything on it's been touched, and it's really cool to know. But yes, everything. I've had people come in that were generals and presidents have come to our facility and things like that, and it's really cool to know when they come and speak to us. Actors came in last year. I think what was that movie? Do you remember that movie? Brad Pitt or something.
Oh,
was
really?
it? Yeah, because
so
they
cool.
made that little space movie, and so they came into our facility to say.
Yeah.
But so people come in, but when you hear the generals come in and talk and say, "Hey, I was deployed, and your SIBRs actually saved our lives," like several times. It's really cool. Yeah. But no, it's neat work. Yeah. So.
And I'm sure it gives you a better appreciation of your work that you do.
Yeah.
I mean, I couldn't imagine working on something and having the president, a high-ranking general, lieutenant colonel, whoever, come in and be like, "Wow, thank you." I think that's. I would take immense amount of appreciation.
No, yeah.
And obviously, everybody else out there, it's crazy because there's so many things that happen behind the scenes that really keep our country safe. And obviously, the work that you do, you might not realize it or not, but I think is one aspect of our national security. So I think you would take immense amount of appreciation, and obviously we have much respect for anybody who helps keeping us safe.
Yeah. Again, I don't put myself in any harm's way, tripping over cables and stuff like that, like some others may do, Kevin.
Right.
But no, it is. You don't really think of it, and a lot of people when they come in and do these speeches and to say how much we need this next one to get out and stuff because of things going on in the world. It's like some people it's in one ear and out the other, but again, I'm a geek, and like in this one little this one space little world, I'm like, oh, I want to know everything. And so it's really cool that we can do that.
Right. All right, I know you work on some cool things, but I think everybody out there wants to know this one question.
Okay.
Are aliens real?
If I told you, I'd have to kill you. No. No,
I was waiting for it.
No, they. Oh yeah, they for sure are real. No,
Okay.
We're not the only ones up there.
Okay.
No.
Yeah, I'm terrified of space. Like I'm the exact opposite. I am petrified of it.
Yeah.
So I'm sure there's things out there. I don't even want to get on that trail because Lord knows I'd end up in a mental hospital. I'm sure trying if my mind starts wandering about everything.
Yeah.
What is one piece of advice that you would give a new person starting out in your field? Like, you know what? Hey, here's Johnny, and this is his first day at Lockheed Martin as a technician specialist. What's one piece of advice that you would have for him?
Mm-hmm. At the
or her?
No. Bottom line is like when you go into any company, you gotta kind of think of yourself as my job is just as important as anybody else's job in this thing. Like to me, if the VPs come down and talk to me, people are like, oh, they're here. And I'm just like, it's another guy. And then I'll talk to him. Like I don't think the person who scrubs the floors in that facility, I'm like good friends with them. And we actually, some of them that were the keepers, like the, not housekeepers, but the people there, they actually went up into this program where they could be technicians and things like that. They take a little class where they can learn. But so if you want a company, start wherever, man. If there's one thing mainly, I would say it's just don't ever be too high or too low for any job. If it's something that you want to do. If it's like, oh, I need the money right now, sure, don't take it. But it's like if your managers will know and they will grade you accordingly at the end of the year. And a good thing with Lockheed is if you're a hard worker, most of the time, if you have a good manager, they will realize it, and you can move up in a company like that. So get yourself into, if you're not smart like I was in school, if you're not like a geek and get into something that you enjoy and work your way up and work hard, because if there's someone lazy that works next to me, which we've had, it's like it ruins the whole vibe of the place. Have fun with it. Don't be, stuck in it. Have fun and work hard. Yeah.
I think there's two takeaways that I took from your answer just there, and I think are extremely important. One, and we've been taught this, especially in church and all. To be a leader, you have to be a servant first. And I think it's extremely important when your leadership will be right there with you. Hey, let's all work together. And it kind of delves into the second part, which was every area of the company needs to be working together. Because, let's just say the janitor, if he doesn't clean the floors.
That's the word I was looking for. Janitor. No, I'm joking.
Janitor, if he doesn't clean the floors, then, hey, it could even lead to low morale. Like, man, I'm doing important work here, and I'm coming into a dirty office, or maybe Kyle tripped and fell over a piece of material that wasn't cleaned up. All the way from the CEO of Lockheed all the way down to the lowest position that you have. Everybody needs to be working together, and I think it's very telling of a company if everybody's on the same page. It doesn't matter what job you have. Same thing with the police department, from the commissioner all the way down to the lowest spot like me. We all just need to be working together. And so with that, just like I'm interviewing you on your career field, is there another occupation that you would like to do? If they said, Kyle, you're fired right now. That's honestly
something I've never really thought about, because this is something that in school I was like I could never do that. Like this is something that's so, I don't think I could get paid more doing anything else in the world really. But any other occupation, I just think there's jobs out there. Anything that could be fun. Obviously anybody wants a job that they enjoy. I don't necessarily enjoy my job. I enjoy what I'm building. But going to work every day, it's like, sure, I'd rather be at the track. I'd rather be, but Yeah, so other jobs, I don't think I could get paid more for doing anything else, and I enjoy it. So yeah, this would be.
I know what job you would do.
What?
You would do, if you could go back, you would do racing.
That's not a job.
Yeah, but you could get paid for it.
Everybody, that was Reese and Harper, so making their podcast debut. Might be the youngest, host, guest, viewer on the podcast. So, what type of, and you had talked about it before. Obviously not a huge fan of schooling. What type of education level is needed? I mean, did you have to do any other certifications? Do you just have your high school diploma, anything like that?
Yeah, so high school diploma is minimum for a technician at Lockheed, but which is all that I have. I mean, this is something Kevin and I will agree on, but I think that college is just like, they charge way too much for it. It's all sham. And it's a way to get money. But here's one thing that's really cool about Lockheed is if you start off as a technician, they will pay for your college 100%. So it's like, I think, and you can correct me if you think something else, but this is how I think. I think that people should not go to college, find a career in something that pays for it, because engineers there that come out of college are garbage. Like if you work there and you get it paid for, then you understand like the working on it, and you understand the paperwork and the how can we help. Because when they just come in fresh out of college, they don't teach you. I've talked to so many people, engineers and things. They say nothing I do on the floor right now is what I learned. Well, a little bit, but like nothing that I'm specifically doing. I learned in college. You kind of learn it on the job, but you know the basics from college and things like that. So it's like, if you don't have the money, I would completely say don't like go through that path. Like, I know a lot of people that are like, well, I don't know what I want to do. Let's go into business, or let's go into. Just wait. If you get into a job that pays for it, Reese's job also would pay for her college too. So a lot of jobs are doing that nowadays. But that's something that's really cool. So if you were looking at something like that, college diploma is all you need. There is a lot of certifications you need. But it's all on the job. You spend your first year literally just doing just certification and training and stuff like that. But and
I think that's something that I feel is kind of increasing in the sense of, I feel like a lot of young people, they're not wanting to go the college route. They're wanting to do like a more hands-on approach, so like a trade school. Is that something that you might recommend if they can't get into Lockheed or another company like that with just a high school diploma? Would you recommend a trade school instead of like a university?
Trade schools, I think, are incredible as well. And you can make a lot of money in trades nowadays. Nobody knows how to work with their hands anymore. And it's like everybody just wants to be working at Google, where you get your free egg sandwiches in the morning and slide down the slides, whatever, and sleep in your little sleeping pods. But if you learn a trade where you can, like plumbers and things like Colorado, the big thing is like air conditioning, HVAC, and things like that. They make six figures easy doing HVAC and upwards, and it's like, so if you're not smart or want to go to college, I'm not saying not smart, it takes geniuses to work on air conditioning. It's just a different kind of smart. So if you want to do that, absolutely, I think that's it's a force that is really needed right now in the world, because a lot of people don't think they need it, and people will pay out the wazoo for it. So it's kind of a cool.
Do you ever see your work affecting your home life, your family life? And the reason I ask this is, at least from the domestic calls I've responded to, it's, the husband brings his work home. And that's, cops, we deal with this all the time. We try and leave work at work, and home at home. Don't bring work home with you. Is your job something to where, at 4 o'clock or whenever I clock out, I can leave work with me? I don't really have to bring it home with me.
That all depends on what kind of personality you have, I think, because there's a lot of people that I'll be at work, they'll be at home, they'll be calling me, so what's going on here, do we have it? And I will straight up just tell them, I'll be like, bro, you're at home, relax. Like, just sit back. And me personally, I do not, and I have a rule, because Reese worked in the mental health, and she knows you'll have people coming in to where she is just doped out of their mind, or people, she saw a couple people die. Like, it's like she has a weird and when she first started, it was every day. It was probably an hour of story time when she got home, because there's so many interesting things. You can say some things, but our rule at home is what you were just saying. It's like, even if it's kind of cool sometimes, she wouldn't understand if I was trying to tell her what I was doing. Like, and to me, my thing, I don't like to hear about like crazies. Like, it makes me feel like, this world is freaking bizonker. Yeah. But like, so I would say, with me, I'm probably the most carefree at work. Like, when I leave, it's dirt bike time. It is like bike time. Get out of my and that's just kind of who I am. I'm all about 100%. You give work 100% while you're there. Exactly. You've got to be the hardest worker while you're there. Right. But I don't want to be the longest worker. Yeah. I'm not going to be there on weekends. Right. And I told them, especially with this 410s on the weekends, they'll ask me every Friday, you want overtime? Yeah. And a lot of people want overtime. And a lot of people want that because of the money. And they want to get away from the family. Right. And it's like, they would tell me, I would rather be at work than to be home listening to my crying kid. Right. And it's like, to me, I'm like, get me home, man. Yeah. And once that 3:30 hits, I'm like, I'm out. This is my contract. I signed up to be here. So I personally, I think family time is most important, and there's other jobs that I applied to this year that I could have gotten into some spaces, and I just straight up told them, I said, family time is number one, and they're on startups, they want you working 60-hour weeks, and I was like, not a shot. So
that's a lot.
Yeah, I think that's a huge thing. That's a good question too. I think everybody should have that mindset of just, work is to pay for your family and your life. Like, it's not there to take you away from them.
Yeah. So, I know your job, I'm sure, can be stressful. Do you have any stress relievers? Last time I was out there, we did mountain climbing. Or rock climbing, whatever. Yeah. And to anybody out there, I highly recommend you go rock climbing, especially with Kyle, okay? Because it's always a lot of fun. But what are your stress relievers? What do you do?
Oh yeah, it can be a very stressful job. Again, if I drop a screw on the floor, you can't pick it up and use it. It's like, and that can screw up a thing for a week. Yeah. And then you just know. And when you do that, you put your head down and you go, son of a gun. Like, how did I just drop a screw on the floor and now I need to wait a week? So it's like, and then you go home and you just kind of bummed on it like a little bit. But with me now, I try and, again, I don't take that home. And to me, it's like, if any stress, normally it's not from work. But if it is any stress, I've got too many things to fill my time. In fact, I have not enough time in the day to fill it all. But out in Colorado, they really get you into the outdoors and the climbing and things like that. But holy cow!
And do you have a crazy story about rock climbing? I mean, did you almost fall once? I mean, what?
Rock. If you know me at all, you know I don't like heights. Like, I love doing things that are dangerous and things, but heights are just not my huge strong suit. So I remember I had a deer stand in the backyard, and I used to like to go out hunting with my brother and stuff. I wouldn't really hunt much. I just like going out there and roughing it out. So it was a climber stand. I would take myself up like an extra foot every like hour, every day, and I'd put it up, and the trees wobbling. You're sitting there, and it's like, I'm terrified, but I need to go up a little bit higher and now with climbing, it's kind of the same thing. It's like, we'll have like 100-foot rope, so you're 50 foot up in the air, and I just bought a 60 meter, which is I think about 200 foot. So you can go about 100 foot in the air because 100 and 100 is the 200 foot because you need the guy belaying. Yeah. But the scariest thing I would say is, other than the heights, is when you start top roping, which is the rope is at the top, you have a belayer at the bottom, and he could literally, if he pulled up hard enough, he could pretty much pull you up a little bit every time you need a hand. And the buddy I go out with is straight up like, he is a mountain man, dude. And so I never knew anybody like this. And so this mountain man, he's teaching me how to climb. And after like the third day of climbing, like, he goes, all right, it's time to lead climb. And I'm like, oh shoot, dude. So when you're lead climbing, you're hooking in the rope as you're climbing, and half the time you're over the rope. Right. So if you fall, if you're 5 foot above the rope, that's a 10-foot fall hitting into the mountain. So it's like, I'm all like, oh shoot, I've done this maybe 5 times, 3 times, like, what's going on? So he really, he takes me to my limits on climbing, but that's terrifying, seeing the rope underneath of you, and it's like, you're holding on, and when you know you're about to fall, you're holding on for every little bit that your hand has, and you start shaking.
Yeah.
And your body's like, I want to fall, but I'm too scared to.
Yeah.
So it's like your body just starts doing this weird like shake, and then your arms are burnt out in a second. But yeah, no, it's cool.
I remember when we did rock climbing with you for the first time, and the last time when I'm going down, I'm supposed to jump off to land.
Yeah.
I felt like Spider-Man.
Yeah.
It was so cool.
Yeah.
So yeah, anybody out there, go rock climbing. You will not be disappointed
And
at all.
a lot of people think if you're buff,
Yeah.
you're getting up there. But typically, if you're buff,
Yeah.
you're too heavy to rock climb. Like, it's a lot of people think like, oh, I'm muscular, I can do some pull-ups.
Right.
It's 100% fingertip
Yeah.
strength, and it's
Yeah.
forearms. So if you don't have good forearms, stuff like that, it's a sweet workout. If
Right.
you've never done it, I'm sure you can go up twice and then you burn out. Like, it's really a interesting workout.
And that's what I did. I went up the first time, came back down, couldn't feel my forearms at all. And it really is all about the fingertips.
Yeah.
Thankfully, obviously, you were helping me out, telling me where to put my hands and all. And then the second time, I think it was a little easier if I can remember correctly. But at the end, I was dead.
Oh yeah.
And
you went up maybe 2 times, 3 times maybe.
Right.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
it's a crazy workout.
Yeah, and trust me, I'm not the strongest person in the world at
But you're
like,
buff. You're
furthest
freaking
thing
shred.
from it. But my forearms were hurting. So if you ever want to go rock climbing, better start now. Start working on them forearms. Rock climbing, I know you enjoy, as Reese was saying, racing. You enjoy.
Yeah.
Dirt biking, as long as I've known you, it's really been you and your whole family really into it. That's like a family tradition, right?
Oh yeah. My dad grew up doing it. He got us on our first bike. It was like bicycles. He had us on 2-wheelers at 2 to 3 years old, and he was very in the family, and he was the same way that I try and be. Get out of work and be with the family. Don't try and hide from. So bikes were about 3 years old, and then dirt bikes were 5 years old. He would get us started. So that's when you kind of have the ability to know where to turn and like it, because when you're too young, it can be a little more dangerous and sketchy. But 5 years old.
Huh. That's wild, man. I can't imagine. Man, I don't even know what my parents, they probably just gave me some crowns or something. Like, all right, go draw, because my luck, I know I would have fallen off. Do you have you mentioned your dad, do you have a favorite memory with your dad on dirt bikes? And it could be when you were younger, when you were older in Colorado.
Yeah, no, it's kind of funny because we've got a lot of, that's pretty much my whole childhood and the whole time growing up, that's all we did. That and some tennis and ping pong. But the dirt biking, the first time we ever went to a track was cool, like, oh yeah, first time Dad took us to a track, I had a little 85.
Yeah.
Out in Colorado, there was a lot of trail rides with beautiful views, and my dad would always want to go up there. Just beautiful views, you just kind of, and that was more trail riding. Right. That's really cool. Yeah. But my favorite thing we've ever done, even though he's taken us some cool rides, right behind our house, it was a baseball field that was abandoned. It had like grass growing up everywhere inside the gravel or whatever you put in there, sand. And he goes, all right, we're going to till this thing up. And I was like, all right. And it was just an old abandoned thing. It wasn't used. And he goes, we're going to race around the bases.
Yeah.
So it's like we're on dirt bikes.
Right.
And we're like sideways, kind of like drifting around and just shredding. And we like started like with a couple seconds different. We're trying to catch up with each other.
Yeah.
I kid you not, that was like the most fun that we have ever had on a motorcycle. And it was just ripping around a baseball field.
Right.
Like, and we were crashing, hitting into each other.
Yeah.
Like, it was just stupid fun. But that out of everything, I don't know why that sticks out so much, but that was the one. And I think the cops came and we had to run away. It was a good time.
Always good when the cops come and you got to run away.
Yeah.
Speaking of dad, I can't believe it's coming up on 2 years since he passed, right?
Yeah.
I'll be driving down the road and I'll just literally out of nowhere just think like, wow, Scott Ibsen is in heaven. Like, there's certain people that you think, it's just like, why, like, not, I guess why, but also it's just still mind-boggling to me. And your dad is obviously one of those people that still to this day I just am totally shocked. let's speak a little bit more about him. He had, anybody who doesn't know Scott, which a lot of people do, because I know a lot of people were praying for him, and I know the family was very appreciative of all that.
Yeah.
The moment you first found out about his cancer, what went through your mind?
I'll tell you what went through my mind came out on the phone.
Yeah.
So I lived in Jersey when I heard, and my parents both were in Colorado at this time.
Yeah.
And I got a phone call from my mom. I'm sitting on the front grass playing with Andrew's chickens and my brother's chickens.
Yeah, his brother has chickens.
Yeah.
Nice little coop there.
And they were my little buddies. I raised some things from when they were little chicks. So
Right.
I'm outside just playing with the chickens, feeding them, whatever. Andrew was on a trip with work.
Yeah.
So he was having a grand old time, and I get a call from my mom, and she sounded all weird, and I'm like, oh, what's going on?
Yeah.
My dad and I, we would call each other before that
Right.
all the time, and it was just like, because I didn't live there anymore, and we were like best buddies, so it was like, he would call me all the time, and I'd just talk for like hours, but my mom called me, and I'm like, what? She's like, oh, Dad's here,
Yeah.
I'm like, all right. And when she told me, I said some foul language very, very, very loudly, and
Right.
I threw the phone over the house. It was like so pissed.
Yeah.
But
And I'm sure that moment, and large part of this podcast is, to really help people that feel like, when they're going through something, they feel all alone. Nobody else knows what I'm going through, which I'm obviously extremely thankful. And let me just say to everybody, I did let Kyle know and ask Kyle for his permission about this. I didn't want to bring it up and just, put everything out there. So we did talk. I didn't want you to think like, or anybody else out there to think, I'm
think
just
you're making him
this.
cry, man.
Right. So we're not. Don't worry, everybody.
Yeah.
We did talk about this, and it was stage 4 pancreatic cancer. Is that correct?
Right. Yeah.
Okay. Was there one thing, if you even know, that your dad, if he were alive, would tell somebody going through stage 4 pancreatic cancer? Do you know, is there one thing that he would advise them?
Yeah. No, he was just very big on just trusting in the Lord, and he was almost weirdly okay with it, you know. And it's like you see people looking at him and seeing him like, what's going on in his mind, and there was a lot of times near the end where things were just like really, really hard, and it's just like, we're good, man, like that. And it's like, shoot, like I want to be mad, but I can't because he's not mad, but he would just say trust the Lord and try and witness to you, I guess.
I think that's extremely important. Me and Kyle are both Christians. Anybody that knows us, I'm sure, can tell, and speaking, and speaking with us, know, hey, we're Christians, not ashamed of it. So I think that's extremely important to put out there, because maybe somebody who's listening isn't a Christian, and that's okay. But I just want to know, everybody to know this is why, he might feel this way. His dad may have felt at peace through different things, and trusting the Lord is something that we do every day, especially in his position. One thing that I am curious about is, did you ever feel helpless? Did you ever feel like, I want to do something, I just don't know what to do?
Yeah.
And by the way, I do have, don't worry everybody, I don't have tissues, but I do have toilet paper if anybody starts crying, so it's all good.
Just put toilet paper in
the car. Yeah, right? Sponsored by Charmin, the store,
Costco's brand.
Yeah.
What was the question?
Did you ever feel helpless?
Oh, yeah. So, for the entire time. And literally, it's like, there's things you want to do, and we were there the entire time. The first thing I did, when he called me, I told the guy at work, I said, work is cool and all, but I said, if I don't get transferred out to Colorado, I'm quitting. Like, it was a deal where I was like, I'm spending these last moments with him, whether it's if it's literally the last thing I do. It's like, because there was nobody who like I cared more for, and it was weird. So it was like, the whole time though, when you're doing it, it's like you never understand. Like with cancer, you always hear like, oh, this person died of cancer. Oh man, let's pray for them. Let's pray for them. Oh yeah, this person just died. Oh, pray for the family. Pray for the family. But until it happens, it is the worst way to die. Like the toughest dude in the world. Like I found out. Like I feel like I'm tough, you know, whatever. Sure. But like I go into a hospital, my heart rate goes up because I'm just awkward in the hospital. I don't like it. I don't like anything to do with hospitals. Right. And my dad's there every day. Like, and he's there like once a week, twice a week for chemo and all this stuff. And it's like, you get done your chemo, you're throwing up, you're feeling like crap, and then after 4 days, you get over like this, he says it's like having the flu. And then you get over that, and then you know, in a day or two, I'm going back to do the same thing over and over. And it was just this repetitive sick all the time. And it was like, what can I do? And it's like, I'm going off to work and I'm feeling bad for it. And it's like, I can remember I leave for work at like 4:30 in the morning, and it's like, I came down and I used the bathroom. My dad was sleeping on the couch sometimes because he's like, he just couldn't get comfortable in his bed. And he's like, I just came down to pray and stuff like that. And it's like, I'll use the bathroom. And then I come out of the bathroom after like getting ready for work. And he's puking in the sink. And he's like, you were in the bathroom. I couldn't go in there. I was like, let that break, dude. And it's like, I was in there for 3 minutes. And like, and he's just puking. And I can remember those days when you leave your dad puking in the sink. And it's like, well, I have to go to work. And it's like, so yeah, it was a very very weird thing, and so I don't know. I think there's a lot of different ways people do, you know, pass with cancer, and some go a lot smoother than others. Ours was just a terrible. He was holding on too long. He was too tough. But whole time it was kind of useless feeling. Yeah,
and to somebody that is feeling just like that, like, hey, let's just say Johnny out there, he just found out his dad has stage 4 pancreatic cancer. Is there anything, I mean, you said you know, obviously nothing that you really could do, but is there anything that you would recommend, I guess advise somebody in your position, you know, a son of somebody who's going through this, to feel, what can they do, if anything?
That's something I'll tell you. You can tell yourself you can feel one way or another. When it happens, it's completely, everything's out the window, and weird things happen. I'm a very shut down kind of guy. Like if something sad happens, I have to be like I gotta be tough, you know, gotta be tough. It's the best thing I can say is, you know, grieve however you want to grieve. Don't tell someone how to grieve, I'll tell you that much. My mom posts things online, I get off of everything completely because I'm pissed off. And it's like, so grieve how you want to grieve. And I can say, like, my dad made it very easy in the sense that, like, he just wanted to sing, you know? So we're all in the living room singing together. And it's like, that's what he wanted to do with us. And so, every situation's different. But I would say, you know, whatever makes him comfortable as he can possibly be, take care of it, and it'll make you feel good, and make him feel good,
Is there anything someone should not say or do when speaking to someone who has cancer or a family member of somebody who does? And the reason I ask that is because I feel so many people, they want to say the right thing, they want to do the right thing, they have good intention, but it never comes out like that.
Well, again, I'm a shut down kind of guy. If somebody has cancer and I go up to him, I just, you know, just act like he's a normal guy, you know, and go around it like that. Like I try not to be like, oh my goodness, I'm so sorry. But everybody's different. Some people want that, some people don't. See, in our family, it was more of just like, you know, just like praying for you, you know, and things like that. Like when we had so many people come up to us saying like, oh, my husband just had pancreatic cancer. He passed away. You know, this guy just had it. He passed away. We're like, well, that's not encouraging. But but to know that they've been through it is very cool to know. Like they got you and stuff like that. But some people have different ways of doing it. I'm not gonna say, okay, but just just say praying for you. That's the nicest thing you can say to somebody.
And I feel like it's something so simple. Honestly, even if you're not a Christian, even if, you know, you don't believe in God, I still feel like, hey, I'm praying for you. It's something that I feel even to somebody who, like I said, doesn't believe in God, the person who has cancer, hey, I'm praying for you. I still feel like there's a sense of, okay, thank you. Like a little peace that might come. Even if, like I said, even if they don't believe in God, I still feel in the times of, struggle, grief, trouble, that prayer is something that everybody understands. So I feel like it's something very simple, as just that can go a long way.
I say that to some people at work and stuff like that. Oh, my wife's in the hospital. Oh man, let her know I'm praying for her. And he just goes, okay. But hey, what else can you say? And be like, oh, that stinks.
Right.
Like what else are you supposed to say? Oh, that stinks for you, yeah, man. Hope everything's good. But just easy.
Yes.
And then they can be like, all right, whatever. It doesn't do anything for me.
Right.
But it's still what I say,
Exactly.
Yeah.
Is there anything that you would? I guess maybe I already asked this, but in a different way. Is there anything that you would like to share to those who are in the same position as your family is in with Pop's passing? In the sense of, there's going to be your good days. I'm sure there's going to be your bad days.
Yeah.
Is there anything maybe that you guys as a family do differently now that Pop's maybe more dinner or something like that that you would want people to maybe start doing?
Yeah, no. Personally, our family is the most tight-knit family I've ever met. And not just close family. All of our relatives. When we lived in Jersey, it's like everybody's getting together for Christmas. Nobody moved out. Everybody's in Jersey. So we're all very close. So my biggest thing there was getting to Colorado to be there with them.
Yeah.
It said more than anything to him.
Right.
It was so just being there and just so that they know, hey, I used up 4 weeks of my vacation because I was like, guys, I'm not coming to work. Even though it was a year after I moved out here, and so I moved jobs and I spent the last year out here with them.
Right.
And that's when I met Reese, and it was a deal where I was like, oh crap, I just met a girl and my dad's sick, and it was so every other day was I'm spending the entire day with you, I'm going to work, and I'm spending the entire day with Dad, and then I'm going to work, and then visiting her. So it was this weird thing, but making time just to, it's kind of when he's gone, you're gonna wish you had 50 more years, and it's man, I wish I would have just hung out a little bit more, gotten to know a little bit more about, but I also wanted to give him that every other day so that my mom and him could have their time. And it's so you gotta know the balance. You don't want to just be stepping on toes the whole time. But just be there as much as you can, and if he enjoys you, if he doesn't like you, stay out of there.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
And let's move on, change the subject just a little bit, because something you had mentioned. What was it like? You had just moved out to Colorado to be with Pop, right? And you had met Reese.
Yeah.
Maybe you could speak for her. What was it like? You guys had just met, and Pop was going through the cancer at the time.
Yeah.
How do you think she had felt? Hey, I'm just meeting my, boyfriend's dad for the first time. I know he has cancer. What was that whole time period like?
Yeah, no, it's kind of, it's a little bit weird. She, the reason I'm probably married to her today is because she was just so good, with all that stuff. And I didn't, again, I pushed away, I don't want relationships so much when I'm going through that. It's not I started dating her because I was, sad. It wasn't like that. It was it was a deal where things just fell, and she was a Christian girl. She was very sweet, and I was and I we went through the first time we went on a date, it was we went through everything. This is what I want in a relationship. And it was weird because a lot of people are oh yeah, you're hot, let's go out. It was with me, I was if this is something you can do, let's hang out. If it isn't, we'll cut this off right now. It was so we got that out of the way, and she was really good. Her grandfather just passed away with some cancer too, so she knew all about it. And but so she was just real close, real good. She was a fantastic because I told her, I said, if that same thing happened with you, with me, your dad already had it, and I had to watch all of that, I wouldn't have stayed with you. It's as weird as that, but it's I can't go through that, and she was good with it, and it was really interesting dynamic almost to watch it happen. But it was she was really good.
And on that, how, as obviously married man of what's going 2 years coming up on 2
Yeah,
years.
yeah, in July. Yeah.
And obviously a new dad. How important is it to find somebody to where, hey, in the midst of all the trouble, all the craziness of the world, she's good. Like, how important is that? And I know it's obviously important to you.
Oh yeah.
But was that like your number one?
Oh yeah.
Number one thing.
It's the same thing I tell everybody at work, because I'll tell anybody what I'm thinking and what I feel, and I don't give a crap what your response is. Honestly, if you were like, Kyle, I disagree with everything you say, it's like, I don't give a crap. Like, I don't care. And so I tell people how it is, and a lot of people at work, like, oh, you got to live with someone for a couple of years before you know who they are. And I'm like, I'm not that way in any way, but I'll say, like, in that first day, you need to set your grounds, like. Because if I went to Reese and I said, "Oh, if you're going out partying, and expect me to be at home, like, or if you expect me to be one of those guys that are going out," first of all, that was number one. You're done. Like, we just have nothing in common, because I don't do that. And then, like, things like, oh, if you're gonna, if you first of all don't believe in God, or don't believe, like, you have to be Christian and stuff like that. And it's not like, oh, so you don't like anybody with that. It's, you need that common out. If she thought Biden is doing a good job right now, we'd have a lot of butting heads, and it wouldn't be right. Like, you need to have the same thoughts on a lot of things. And it's like, so with her, it was like things were lining up, first date, and so it was like, all right, I'll see you again. It wasn't like, and I was also like, by the way, if you don't like anything with me, don't hang me on to dry here. Just let me off quickly, because I don't want to deal with it. And I don't like wasting time. I don't. I've done it enough in my life. So like with her, I was like, let's bring it down.
I think that's so important. It's when you start to find somebody who you're going to be with forever. Just because you differ doesn't mean, like you said, doesn't mean I hate them. But just if for something that I'm looking for forever, it really should be aligning more so than not. And Reese is. I'm not saying that just because she's in the next room and can probably hear this. She is one of the sweetest people you ever meet, and I know obviously makes you very happy. And I'm so stoked for you guys, especially now that you have baby Harper. Going back a little bit towards your pop, your dad. It can be a Bible verse. It could be a piece of advice that you were given. But is there one thing that, looking back on the last 2 years, that made you at peace? Or it could be maybe a moment that you were at the house praying with Dad. Anything that made you at peace.
The whole kind of thing. Again, I was pissed. Like, straight up pissed the first little bit, but as soon as I moved out with him, the whole thing was kind of peace, which is weird. I didn't cry pretty much the whole time he was going through anything. I kind of shut down a little bit and just kind of enjoyed the time, and I didn't cry for, like, every once in a while a tear will come out, but I never was like, oh my goodness, for like a year after, and even like now I still never like really just take the time to like cry or anything like that. It was just a peaceful, like, I know honestly after seeing what he was going through, we were praying that he would die. Like it came to a point where it was like, he is in so much pain and this is so terrible, God take him away. Like, and so it was very peaceful to know that holy, like right now when he passed away, it was like right now he is up with the Lord, and that was peace. Like right then is like, all right, this is good. Like it wasn't a bad thing at that time. It was like, oh, thank you God for like, you know, and for the whole time when he was in chemo and stuff, you're praying, please, you know, we need you to stay alive. And then and then when it comes to a point of that, it's like the peace is finally like, all right, you're happier now, and you're in better hands.
Exactly. Especially as Christians, it's good to know, and I guess it does leave you obviously with a sense of peace and hope that, you know, hey, he's not here now. One day you'll see him again.
Absolutely.
Your family is an amazing family, and you know, I've known your family for years, and I consider you all family to me. What is one thing that you love most about your family?
And
it could be the entire Ibsen family. It could just be you, Reese, and Harper. You know.
No, it's it would be everything, and again, just that tight knit. We're a big family that enjoys each other,
right?
It's not like, oh, every time we get together, there's an argument. It's just come over, let's go, let's bring the yard games, let's have some fun, and that's what I really love about our family is that we can just all get along and have like literally parties are just like, it's not like your normal party is like, you come over, my mom's Baptist Martha Stewart, she makes all her desserts and everything like that. And then our other family out there, the Ibsens, they bring all the fun toys, and my brother's got the yard, and we all get together, and it's like, let's just have a good time. And I really, really, nothing beats family time, like honestly. So
I think one of my favorite parts is obviously Andrew's 4th of July party.
Yeah, he's got a good one going.
Yeah, it's one of the best parties. So fun.
Yeah.
We're out there for several hours.
Oh, yeah.
One of the first times I remember hanging out with your family, I think it was at Noelle's graduation party. And your mom, like you said, she's like the Baptist Martha Stewart, and if you ever met her, you know it's the absolute truth. She made something to eat, and I can't remember what it was, but I couldn't stop eating it.
How long ago is this?
This is
the first time you hung out.
I think at your house. Yeah,
was it like a butter cake or something? She
It
made a
very
bomb
well
butter cake back in
could
the
be,
day.
honestly. And I remember I couldn't stop eating it. I was like, can I call your mom? And well, the rest is history. So,
can I call your mom?
Yeah.
All right, Kevin, let's wrap this up. Ready to go?
So she's awesome. The whole family. And if you know the Ibsens, you know it's the absolute truth. Just incredible people. Yeah. Anyone who will watch this will see that you like to smile. And as long as I've known you, I know that you like that. Have you always been like that? You're just this always energetic, smiley person.
I would like to think so.
Yeah.
I personally, I just think there's nothing as much wrong as there is in this world. There's nothing wrong in my life,
Yeah.
And I remind myself of it all the time, man. It's like every morning you wake up, and I remember when I was at the metal shop, every single morning I woke up, I said, thank you, God, for this job. Even though it's not the best job, it's not, thank you, God, that I have a job and that I can work right now. And it's like, and then you wake up, and it's like, you wake up next to a wife, and now this freaking beautiful child. And it's like, you look at her, and it's like, holy cow, man, there's nothing that could go wrong. And I think it's, that you're pretty pathetic if you think of the world in another way of like, just grumpy and things like that.
And that kind of goes into actually my next two questions. One of them was, to those who say, you know what, man, I love smiling, but right now I'm just so down. I have this going on. What would you say to them? And then also, what is one piece of advice that you've learned throughout your life that you would offer somebody maybe going through a trial, something like that?
Yeah, no, honestly, it's no matter what's going on, especially if you know the outcome and things like that. It's like even going through with my dad, you find ways to let's sing, let's pray together, and let's and everything is a habit. My dad would never say, "All right, guys, let's just all cry. I just need to cry right now." And it's like, no, let's praise the Lord. We're here, we're on this earth, and it's like. We have the ability to change and make someone's day, and I don't know, if you have a positive outlook, everything is positive, so, with me, I don't know what other people are into, I stay away from social media, from TVs, from everything like that, and holy cow, man, does that make you happy. It's like, you just get out in the world. I live in Colorado, man, mountains everywhere, and it's like beautiful weather, and find time to make yourself happy and include the family. And that's my big thing, because if you don't enjoy your family, you're not going to be happy. And I think that's the biggest thing. I'm just so thankful for the family that I have, and for the people I have in my life. And if you, the ones that you can choose, if you choose the right ones, life is good, man.
And I think, me and Kyle are the furthest thing from preachers. Obviously, definitely not. But, one thing that I know that I can attest to, I'm sure you can too, I think of the verse, life is like a vapor. It's literally like that, and life is moving so quick, you're what, 28 now, right?
Yep.
You got, you're married with a kid. Time is just flying by.
Yeah.
And I think the point that he made exactly was, you got to enjoy it. You got to be positive. And one thing that I always tell people is, especially if I'm going through something, like I hate when people feel bad for me.
Yeah.
Because there's always somebody out there going through something worse than what you're going through. And obviously, as Americans, that's a whole separate, thing we could talk about, just how blessed we are to live here. But, we're nearing the end, and he stated it before, but he lives in Colorado. It has for quite a while now. So if you're ever out in Colorado, you better stop and say hi to him and his family, and I know they will enjoy it. Colorado.
Only if you're happy.
What's that?
Only if you're happy.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Don't be bringing no negative attitude. All right. Colorado is amazing. Did you ever in your life think that you'd be out there?
No. In fact, we were such a tight-knit family.
Yeah.
I thought my dad was going to reject the offer to
Okay.
go out there. It was like the one thing we would have never thought to do is leave the family. And it's like his parents are 5 minutes away from him, and they're 90 years old. We've gone over there all our life, and we know. And Jersey's all we knew. And then as soon as we went to Colorado, it was like, holy cow, why have we been to Jersey this whole time, And, but yeah, Colorado is beautiful. I forget the question you even asked, but it's a beautiful place.
Yeah, it is incredible. That moment when Pop said, "Hey, we're moving out to Colorado."
Yeah.
What were your thoughts?
My thoughts were, I have a Corvette that I have to sell.
He had an awesome Corvette.
Yeah. Well, for the time, it was really nice.
Yeah.
And I was like, I have to sell that. That's going to be annoying. I was in relationships, and I was like, that's going to be really hard.
Yeah.
And then also it was like family, and those three things were the things that were like, that actually brought me kind of back. Like I was like, I miss the friends, I miss my family.
Right.
So that's what brought me back to it. But then that's when I kind of got in that rut and needed to come back. But when he told me that, I was like, oh, it's going to be hard. But as soon as I went out there, I was like, this is life. Like, this is it. This is what I've been wanting. It's really nice weather out there and beautiful.
Yeah. And the weather out there, I know, is insane because it'll snow in the morning and pretty much be gone by the afternoon, right?
Yeah, like, overnight snows. It happened a good amount. Now it should be done. Last week I was at the dirt bike track last week. It was probably 80 degrees out, and then the next day we had a foot of snow. But by the following day, it was gone. It was and it's like, so that's kind of our way to get water because it doesn't rain out there. So.
Yeah. Gotta hope for some big snowstorms.
We pray for snow.
Yeah, you were in your low 20s when you moved out to Colorado. That was a probably very big change in your life.
Yeah.
And you had stated obviously different things had lined up, but to somebody out there that's watching and is kind of in that same position, like I'm maybe still living with my parents, and my parents have this job opportunity across the country, or I'm a newly married young couple and I have this opportunity somewhere else, but would have to leave my family. What is, if anything, would you say to that person? Anything, word of advice, anything like that?
So my dad always said, he said, if I never got sick, you would have never met your wife.
Yeah.
And that's the truth. So if things do happen like that and you need to move, I always say you can always move back. What is the hassle of that? Like if you have a house, sure, it can be hard to sell and go out there and buy, but it's like, if it's something that you feel like, obviously pray about it. If it's something that you want to do, it's like, try it. What's the worst that can happen? All right, I come back to Jersey and say, oh, it didn't work.
Yeah.
But in my case, the church out there, I met some new buddies. Never anything like Kevin, nothing that good. But yeah, some of these guys, like I would have never got into mountain biking as hard as I did. Never would have gotten into climbing, things like that I'm like so passionate for now, like that I really enjoy. I would have never gotten into. And right now, if I don't like it out there, guess what? I can still come back. So it's like, hopefully. As long as it's not like a total life-changing thing, like, oh, I'll never be able to get a job out here again, or I'm not transferring. It could be a little hard, but I had to quit my good job to move out there, and things worked out well. Yeah.
So I guess it would be, hey, go for it.
Yeah.
There's, especially if it's an exciting opportunity, there's never anything wrong with following.
And I say that as a 20-year-old man. Like,
Right.
if I'm with a family now and,
Yeah.
and race and have this good job, and I'm like, oh, I'm just going to quit my job and go. That's
Yeah.
probably not the smoothest idea.
Right.
But as a 20-year-old, I would say, hey, I'm not tied down really
Right.
to anything. Let's try it. I mean,
Yeah.
it could be something that we really enjoy, and it could be something that works out. So,
Exactly.
yeah.
As
So like your age, you should do it.
Yeah. I'm 28 and single, so that's,
Go to Colorado.
Yeah. I can't tell you the amount of times I've been on Zillow looking at houses and land out there. I would love it.
And then you get depressed.
Yeah. Like crap, I'm stuck in Philly.
Yeah.
So Colorado is, I've been out there probably a dozen times now.
Yeah.
It's an amazing place. Is there any spots that you would recommend somebody visiting out there?
Yeah, that's kind of weird because I don't do all that fancy schmancy, like, you know, like, oh, the best ice cream place in Denver. It's
Yeah.
all like kind of overrated, this and
Yeah.
that, overrated. Denver is like kind of more like it's not really as busy as you would think. Stores aren't open as late out there.
Right.
It's kind of like, it's not a nightlife.
Yeah.
I'm not into that, but it's like, not like a nightlife kind of, it's just what I really just kind of enjoy. Like Castle Rock has Castlewood Canyon that we go to, chill out there,
Yep.
climb there.
Yep.
Past work, there's a really cool, like, I don't know where it is, I don't know what it is. It's like a sweet mountain climbing out there and stuff.
Yeah.
But me, I'm just woods, man. Like
Yeah.
if you got cool views,
Right.
cool places to go like that. But they don't have good food. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Yeah.
Every time I come here, I go, gotta load up on L&M donuts. And I gotta get freaking, they don't have pretzels out there. Like, that's not a thing.
Oh, really?
Like, to just go and buy a pretzel isn't
Yeah.
a thing out there. So it's
Yeah.
like, come there, buy some pretzels. So here,
Yeah.
it's all about food there. Go there if you want some relaxing, go out in the mountains.
Yeah.
Just enjoy your time and enjoy
Right.
the nice weather. Yeah.
Yeah. If you could do it all over again,
Yeah.
would you want to?
Move out there.
Yeah.
No, what I would do is I'd tell my dad, go get checked every other weekend.
Yeah.
Make sure you don't know. If I did it all over again, that's what I'd do. No, but 100%. Yeah, I'm not. No regrets, man.
Yeah. I think we're gonna wrap it up there. One thing that actually I do have two more questions for you.
Mm-hmm.
Is there anything that you wish I would have asked you, and you want the listeners to know?
Yeah. How was your drive here?
Okay.
And the only reason for that is because Reese and I were driving here, and we were just talking. Man, spiders out here. They're
Yeah.
everywhere. I walked through webs to get to my car. And then as I'm saying that,
Yeah.
I swipe my neck, and I'm like,
Yeah.
what the heck is that? And I'm driving down. There's a freaking huge spider on my stomach,
man.
and I'm driving with my knees going,
Yeah.
oh shoot, and I'm flicking the spider off, and then we pull over on the side of the road. I'm stomping in the car. Yeah, no, stay away from Jersey. No, but if there's anything I can let you know, literally just make sure relationships, find the person that you relate with, and things like that, because a good woman can make you the happiest man in the world, or regret life.
Right. Yeah.
So do that, and
Yeah.
stay close to your family, and enjoy every bit. Yeah.
I think that's.
You only get to do this thing once.
Right.
Make it right, and don't be a workaholic. I freaking hate people who are workaholics.
Yeah.
Stop working so hard,
I'm
Kevin.
so sorry.
Get out and do things, man.
Yeah.
It's a crazy world. I'm not a traveler by any means.
Yeah.
I hate flying probably as much as you do.
That's
it stresses
wild.
me out. But see the world a little bit.
Yeah.
Drive. Go out and stop looking at these stupid devices.
Yeah.
That's my biggest thing. Get out and see the world. Man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I sincerely hope to anybody out there listening that are in different positions of life, that whether you're in a valley of hurt or a mountain of smiles, that there was something that you had gotten from this episode. I know Kyle is on the same page, which is kind of why we were talking about this, and really wanting to help people and inspire people, and have a page where they can go to and listen. That's going to be, okay, you know what? I remember that time in my life where, hey, I went to this podcast and I remember Kyle's story. And so I've known, like I said, Kyle for many years. I know he loves to help people. And so I do want to thank him, obviously, for coming on today and really sharing his heart. We didn't cry, so I'd say that was a
like
success.
a half tear.
Yeah. Just if you shed a half tear, it's okay. It doesn't count as a full tear, so
Yeah.
totally fine. But on that note, I think we're gonna end it there.
Half tear is a full cry. I was trying to think like
Whoa.
a half lie is half
Wait,
truth
half
is a
is a
full
full lie.
It's pretty, half
Half
a tear is a full cry.
See, just dropping wisdom, just
Wisdom
just
bombs,
out of nowhere.
But no, yeah, I want to say though one
yes,
thing
do
too.
your thing.
Dude, man, I'm impressed that you got out here and you did this. Like honestly, like everybody, I try and be like support people that want to do things that they want to do. And like me, dude, growing up, I was like, yeah, YouTube, let's do some YouTube.
Yeah.
I never did it because I care what people think sometimes, and that's not, do what makes you happy. And I think this is cool that you're doing this, and I hope you can bring some cool people on here.
Yeah.
Maybe I can be your sound guy in 10 years
That's
from
right.
now, and that'll be my job.
Yeah,
that'll be
exactly.
my gig. So
Exactly.
no, that'd be really cool.
Yeah.
And
And
I'm impressed.
let me just say, it would be cool if this podcast turned into like the Joe Rogan experience, to where, hey, I'm gonna pay Kyle to move back out here and bring the fam.
Or I'll move you out, or you'll move out.
Yeah,
there.
I'll probably end up moving out there. And if it gets to that level, hey, that's awesome, and I'll be so happy. If it, stays miniature, smaller level, and only have a couple listeners, but I can still help people, then I think that's what we're gonna stick with.
I think as long as you're doing what makes you happy. This is something that makes you happy, and that's honestly kind of what I've been saying. It's like, if it makes you happy, do it, man. Like,
exactly.
In the right terms. But no, if it makes you happy, do it.
Yeah, getting money, I'm not gonna go rob a bank. That's probably
Makes you
not the best
happy,
idea. Yeah, why not? I got plenty of guns, we're fine. So on that note, thank you, obviously, and special thanks to Reese and Harper for coming on the first episode. And so we will see you all next time.
Yeah.
Awesome.